This is once more Benjamin Academy and Centurion. We are going to continue with our lectures, and here we'll be working on the consequences of the First World War. In our previous lectures on this topic, we have worked on the causes of the First World War. We've looked at why Italy led the Triple Alliance and joined the Triple Entente. Because the topic is vast as far as an advanced level student is concerned on this topic, and I will urge all those who will be writing advanced level history that they should take note of First World War and Paris Peace Settlement. This is a topic that does not have a rivalry. It does not conflict with any other topic. In paper 3 history, in section C, this is the question you will be answering. Either the question will come from the First World War or they will set on the Paris Peace Settlement. So have a good mastery of this topic so as to have your question there and answer. As I earlier said, we have done some lectures on the causes of the war, and today we will be looking at the consequences of the First World War. And if you want to look at what we have jotted on the board, we are going to see on the consequences, or we could call it the impact, we could call it the effects, we could call it ramifications, repercussions, the aftermath of the First World War. And here we are going to look at these political consequences because the impacts are shared into political, economic, and social. So we will be looking at the political impact of the First World War. The first we have is the defeat of the Central Powers. Who were the members of the Central Powers during the First World War? We have Germany, we have Austria, we have Hungary, we have Turkey, and Italy that was with them. They later left and joined the Allied forces. So the first significance of the First World War was that the war led to the defeat of the Central Powers, whereby on the 11th of November 1918, General Ludendorff of Germany signed what we call the armistice in history to accept defeat. And when Ludendorff signed the armistice on November 1918, accepting that the Central Powers were defeated, did not brought an end to the First World War. So we said the first political impact was that the war led to the defeat of the Central Powers, and we said Germany, Austria, Turkey, Hungary. The second political impact of the First World War we talk about was the holding of the Paris Peace Conference, or the summoning of the Paris Peace Conference. The Paris Peace Conference took place in 1919 to 1920, and the conference was organized by leaders of the world, the victorious countries, so as to look at the causes of the war and punish the losers of the war. The conference, or the Paris Peace Conference, was attended by world leaders such as Woodrow Wilson of America, David Lloyd George, the British Prime Minister, Vittorio Orlando, the Italian Prime Minister, and Georges Clemenceau, the French Prime Minister, and a delegation that came from Asia, particularly in China and Japan, led by Viscos Chida and Baron Tanaka Mikano. These leaders came in the Paris Peace Conference so as to punish the losers of the First World War, and the losers were, we say, Germany, where the Treaty of Versailles was signed against Germany on the 28th of June 1919. We also talk about the way they punished Austria, where the Treaty of Saint-Germain was signed against Austria. They also punished Hungary through the Treaty of Trianon. Bulgaria was also punished through the Treaty of Nuyini, where Turkey was punished using 2 treaties. The first was the Treaty of Lausanne, and later was followed by the Treaty of Sèvres. So all these treaties were signed as a result of the holding of the Paris Peace Conference, which was as a result of the outbreak of the First World War, to punish the losers of the war. We move again to the third impact of the First World War, the third political impact. We talk about the formation of the League of Nations. The League of Nations was an international organization that was formed at the end of the First World War. One of the leaders who came in the Paris Peace Settlement was called President Woodrow of America, and welcoming in the Paris Peace Conference, Woodrow came with 14-point agenda, whom the last of the 14-point agenda was the formation of an international organization. Because before 1914, European nations have struggled to solve international conflicts using the Congress system, which failed them, and with that, there was a need to form an international organization, even though there was the International Court of Justice that was formed in 1899, called the Hague. But the Hague, or the Tribunal, was not having supranational powers to maintain European peace. That is, European nations were not afraid of the International Court of Justice. That is why when Austria and Serbia had an issue, when Archduke Francis Ferdinand was assassinated on the 28th of June 1914, we saw Austria asked Austria that they should take the issue into the Hague or into the International Court of Justice. Alright, that the issue should be taken into court. Who was the person who demanded that the issue should be taken to court? Serbia have asked Austria that the issue which led to the assassination of Archduke Francis Ferdinand should be taken to court. But Austria refused and instead waged war against Serbia on the 28th of July 1914 because, as I earlier said, the Hague or the International Court of Justice was now having supranational powers that would frighten nations in Europe, and because Austria minimized the powers of the International Court of Justice, Austria was forced to go and attack Serbia. So the formation of the League of Nations as an international organization was a good and the most important positive political outcome of the First World War. And we said the League of Nations was formed in 1919, and on the 10th of January 1920, the League of Nations was inaugurated in Geneva, Switzerland, as an international organization to maintain peace in the world. We have again another political impact of the war. We talk about the collapse of great empires in Europe. The First World War came and some great empires were disintegrated in Europe. What is first of all an empire? When we talk about an empire, it's a group of countries that have been put under the leadership of another country to govern. So with the outbreak of the First World War, we have empires such as the Russian Empire that was collapsed. We have the Austro-Hungarian Empire that was disintegrated into Austria and Hungary. We have the Ottoman Empire or the Turkish Empire that was also collapsed, and finally the German Empire that was also disintegrated because of the war. Most of these European empires came to an end or collapse because the leaders of the world discovered that with these empires to make the European nations to become aggressive, they form alliances through these empires. For example, Austria only became very powerful in Europe when they formed an empire with Hungary. That is the Austro-Hungarian Empire, which was disintegrated at the end of the First World War. The German Empire was also disintegrated because at the end of the war, some of the German territories were taken from her and attached to other European nations so as to reduce Germany, the size of the German land surface. We have example, Ukraine and Normandy was given to Belgium. We have Sudetenland that was given to Czechoslovakia, and we have Danzig and Polish corridor that were given to Poland. So some of these German territories that were seized from Germany and given to other European nations helped to disintegrate the German Empire. We move on to look at another consequence of the war, which we talk about. It led to the rise of new states in Europe. The outbreak of the First World War helps to the growth and the development of some new states in Europe, especially in Eastern Europe. As these empires we have mentioned collapses, new states emerge from these empires. For example, some of these empires or these new states that emerged in Europe, we have Lithuania, we have Estonia, we have Estonia, we have Yugoslavia, we have Czechoslovakia, Czechoslovakia, we have Poland, These were some of the countries that emerged in Eastern Europe at the end of the First World War as new territories. And we said these countries came up because of the fact that the Great Empire collapses and some of them or the territories were formed out of these empires. Again, the next one we talk about the outbreak of the First World War exposes the Russian system of government, and here we are talking about the policy of communism. We are talking about before the war, Russia was practicing capitalism, and during the war, the Russian soldiers were unable to feed themselves. The Russia was unable to provide military attire to the soldiers, and because of this, the system of capitalism was exposed to be a bad system. That is why by March 1917, we have the Bolsheviks that now introduce communism as a means to overthrow the capitalist system of Tsar Alexander the Third of Russia. Again, we are talking about the emergence of USA as a superpower, as another make a political impact of the First World War. We said before the outbreak of the First World War, USA was just a normal country, and during the war, America sold a lot of weapons to the European nations fighting the war. America borrowed money to them. America was involved in selling of her products to these European countries, and at the end of the war, the profits and the gains that USA made from selling its from selling its weapons, from giving out loans to the European nations, make America to develop its economy. And when their economy developed, they also developed politically and become a great nation at the end of the war. So we said the growth and the emergence of USA came as a result of the outbreak of the First World War, because when the war started, America was not involved in the war. It was until when the German used unrestricted submarines and they went and affected America in 1917 that USA joined the war. The last political impact of the war we are going to look and talk about: defeated powers lost their territories. Here we are looking at the central powers who were defeated. They have a negative consequence in that they lost their territories at the end of the war. The various treaties that were signed against them seized their territories so as to sanction them for losing the war. Germany lost its territories in Africa and her islands in the Pacific, such as Samoa, Carolina. In Africa, Germany lost her territories such as Cameroon. Cameroon was lost to Britain and France, where they partitioned it. Togoland was lost to Britain and France, where they partitioned it. German East Africa, which we call Tanganyika, was given to Britain. We have German Southwest Africa or Namibia was given to South Africa, and we have this other German territory, Rwanda, Burundi, was given to Belgium to compensate these Central Powers for defeating the Germans. The Turkish also lost their territories at the end of the First World War. When we talk about Syria and Lebanon were given to France, which were under Turkey. Jordan and it was given to Britain. So these were some of the political impact or effect of the First World War. We will be looking at the other impact of the war, where we will come to look at the economic and the social impact of the First World War. Thank you for following Territorial and the Benjamin Academy.